Good evening, everyone. I'm Jean-Claude Beyond Mystic, and welcome to this very special episode of the Wacky Woo. Tonight, we are remote viewing the news in our crazy reality. With me, of course, is the one and only Mr. Dick Allgire. You can find his work, as always, at futureforecastinggroup.com, as well as here on YouTube at Future Forecasting Group. And I note that on your website, it says, join the 200 plus millionaires who are positioning their families for the digital wealth revolution. Only 200? You guys are slacking off, Dick. That's crazy.
Well, we were conservative. We're now trying to make 1,000 millionaires. The 200 is verified. When we began as crypto viewing back in 2018, our goal was to use remote viewing and data that we could obtain by various sources, both remote viewing and other sources, to prepare people and inform people about the transition to the new financial system. The basis of it was that cryptos are coming, that this is a chance for generational wealth. It's one of the greatest opportunities of investment, not investment advice. And so over 200 of our members used our information to make investments in cryptos and became millionaires and multimillionaires.
I was, of course, being facetious. That's an crazy number. And you get a lot of flack for the stuff that you do, and yet you don't get enough praise for all the people who actually benefited from the information. Again, not financial advice, but you've created this space to where people can educate themselves and get good insights on what the future brings, and it helps them kind of step forward into not just protecting their assets, but moving on the other side of the line here. So congratulations on that. And guys, if you want to hear more about this stuff and you want to try before you buy, of course, go check out the YouTube channel there. There's a lot of information there.
There was a time, Jean-Claude, that I had talked about some cryptos that I'm investing in this, and I like this one, and we were doing segments. And one of our members, a lady, said, "I so appreciate Dick Allgire and the information he's giving, because I, based on that, took all the money out of my 401k and I invested it in cryptos." Wow. And I just freaked out. Like, oh my God.
You're like, no.
I don't want that responsibility. Like, no. Please don't
do that.
It was so sobering to me. I was like, oh my God, if this goes wrong, I can't have that on my.
No,
I just can't do that. But that was 2020, and I'm sure her portfolio. She's one of the millionaires now.
Yeah.
So she is able to take care of her daughter. They will have a good life from here on out. Yeah. But I don't want to be an investment advisor.
No, and you don't want to be attached to all of that karma too. Like, I understand. Like, again, it's a fine line to providing information and making sure people understand that at the end of the day, it's their decision. They have to do their own research, and you're not providing financial advice of any kind.
Yeah.
And it's a tough line, but anyways, congratulations with the success of the show. Really like it. Dick, first of all, thank you for being on tonight. This is a continuation of these special reports I've been doing over the last couple of weeks. I had Jay Widener on, I had Penny Kelly, I had Jason Four, and Woo Woo Dude also. And we're all looking at this period of time that we seem to find ourselves now in, and this acceleration of events. And we're trying to plot what's ahead of us here, and to understand if, in fact, we seem to be on a countdown to something. It appears that everybody's in a mad rush, whether that's on the UFO front, whether that's on the financial front, the New Genius Act, the Golden Dome Initiative, the wars, saber rattling, going crazy. Let me start there with you. What do you feel right now in the last couple of months, seeing the ratcheting here of all of this, the psyops, the division, and all the crazy politics? Are we on a time crunch for something? Is everybody frantic for a reason? What's going on? Dick, let's start there.
This is the time of, as Cliff said, secrets revealed. This is the time where all the bad news is coming out. This is the time when everybody is going to lose all faith in all institutions. Financial, medical, political, educational, all faculties are going to go into disrepair and disregard. Let me step back and give you the big picture. And this was told to me over the period of years, and it took like hundreds of hours of mentoring and discussions for me to understand this. I try to do the elevator version. The earth is a place that was created by someone. We were put here. We were like seated here. We are DNA machines. So DNA is an assembly machine that assembles the raw materials of this planet to house our soul, to be here for a purpose. And one of the purposes of the world, the human race, and it is a race, it's the race. It's like, see who can get ahead. It's like a competition. The world is a commercial enterprise. So I don't want to call us like livestock or stock, but at birth, human beings are assigned a birth certificate, and that is a certificate of value, and it's traded, there are bonds traded against the value of your being with the Bank of International Settlements, and everything is a commercial enterprise. Everything it's a business. And the accounting of that business is fundamental to human society. So they started out with tribes, and then they went to kingdoms, and then nation states. And nation states were divided into counties where they did the counting. They counted the proceeds of the human race, the commerce of the human race. We're getting to a time where enough technology is being released to us, and we're being upgraded in terms of technology, so that the accounting will be done on distributed ledger blockchain. And that's the system that we're going into. The old financial system, the dollar empire, was designed at the end of World War II at the Bretton Woods Agreement in mid-1940s. It was designed to have about 80, 90-year run, where the US dollar would be the world reserve currency. They backed it by gold, then they backed it by a little bit of gold, and then they didn't back it by gold. They inflated it up, and it's having its run, and it's about to, the money just doesn't exist. It's all fake money, as you probably well know. So they're going to be doing the accounting by blockchain, and we're moving into a tokenized world where every human interaction, every bit of commerce will have a digital certificate attached to it and will be tokenized. And all the accounting of the human business that is the world will be done on blockchain. And they'll have it accounted down to the smallest little increment of everything. That's where we're going. And so in order for that to come about, they need to crash the old system, and we're seeing that happen this year. That was a lot to take in.
That's perfect. That's a great intro. It ties into everything we've been discussing on the last 4 episodes of this special report. So let me tie that in a little bit, because when I interviewed Andy Schekman, mostly every week, but last year, he had just interviewed Judy Shelton at the time, and she was talking about some introduction of gold into the system, probably by July of 2026. Well, that's just around the corner. And lo and behold, in the last couple of weeks, we've been treated in the mainstream news to the fact that Donald J. Trump's signature is going to be on these new commemorative bills for the 250th anniversary. And when I saw that, I'm like, hold on one cotton picking minute. There's no way this guy is going to be putting his Johnny Hancock on a Federal Reserve note. And if that's the case, then I've completely missed the ball. I'm trying to understand where we were going with all this. So is that like a shot across the bow, letting the normies know that the currency is about to change in a big way? In addition, also here to the Genius Act, those stable coins that are being introduced. How do you see all that tying in?
Let me go a little bit bigger story on that, and this is based on remote viewing. And I should have thought that we would talk about this and sent you some session work, but people can see it at our website, ffgrv.com. Over the past year, we were given 2 blind targets that were looking at it was either gold or the future of the dollar or the transition. They were transitional targets. I can't remember the exact cueing. But the data that I got and that we got specifically was the concept of the paper is all of a sudden of no value. Like all of a sudden the paper gets called due, the bonds. I specifically said bonds, the dollar, and there will be a revaluation, a reconstitution. And the ideas that I was getting, and this is a really complex target, and I did it blind, was of they need to get a basket of tangible things of value: gold, silver, oil, land, cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, and they're going to use natural resources, oil, rare earth, gold, silver, crypto, other things of value, tangible assets, to fold into this new system that will be on blockchain. So what it exactly is going to be, is it going to be I don't think we're going to have a Federal Reserve. We haven't looked at that, but there's going to be you're not going to be doing your taxes in the old way. Taxes are going to be point of transmission shaved off.
They're going to be live on the blockchain with every transaction.
Live on the blockchain. You won't notice it. You'll just you won't have to fill out a tax return.
Right.
And speaking of that, let's just jump all over the place.
Sure.
2026 is this year that you need to be compliant with your cryptos. There were people in the past. I was just talking with Jake Boyle of Caleb and Brown. In the early days of cryptos, it's like, well, this is this speculative little weird thing over here, and people are making millions and they're not reporting it because it's just cryptos and nobody's really watching it. And people had their little LLCs and their personal management companies, and they were skirting some of the tax issues. They now are requiring crypto exchanges and brokerages to fill out the 1099 DA, digital assets report. All this is, you have beneficial ownership of a LLC that needs to be reported. And this is all going to be monitored by the government by AI like that. They will just run you in and they're going to catch you. So our advice to crypto people is, when you cash out cryptos, take 1/3, put it in the bank, put it in a certificate of deposit, keep it sequestered, and pay your taxes. You're going to have to. And we have an accounting firm that we started called Numeratus.us. We got top accountants who understand cryptos and understand the new regulations and are looking over it. So this is the year that you need to be compliant.
It's funny you mentioned that here in Canada too. Just 2-3 weeks ago, the Bank of Canada put out something that they were working on a brand new stable coin, when just 2 months before they were saying, oh, there's no need for a cryptocurrency here in Canada, blah, blah, blah. Nobody wants it. Nobody's doing anything in parallel yet. You and I had talked about this early 2019 or 20. It was back in 2013 or 14, I believe, that the Bank of International Settlements let it slide in one of their annual or quarterly reports that Canada at the time was working on CAD coin as a test project for this new infrastructure that's being built. And then when you look at the new Genius Act being put forward, you can see now the acceleration of where we're going with all this. It's fascinating to watch. And it's also very scary for the people who have not yet educated themselves to this new system that is taking place. But going back to the bill, the commemorative bills that Trump is supposedly going to sign here. I spoke to Cliff about this a couple of weeks ago. We were on the phone for an hour or two on many subjects, but on that one, he wanted to remind the audience that he had it way back when, starting in 2010 or 11, this Trump buck or this greenback, and that would run parallel to the FERN, the Federal Reserve notes, at least for a period of time. I'm curious, as you looked at the older RVs of the death of the dollar, I have the slide up on here. Did you guys ever look at this running parallel of this new, like either a continental dollar or a Trump buck or a green buck competing with the FERN at the same time as maybe this crypto infrastructure? How did you see that tie in, if anything?
We see it being some type of stable coin backed by the assets of the U.S. And I think what Trump is doing right now, I don't want to get political, pro or anti-Trump, but he's kind of brilliant. He just took all of Venezuela's oil. He just got control of Greenland, which has a lot of resources and is strategically important. I think he's going to come out of the Iran situation with giving China a very hard time and Russia. So he's positioning the U.S. to be a regional hegemony. What our information tells us, and this is not from remote viewing, it's more from sources that we have who are very knowledgeable, is that we're going into a world with regional governances. It won't be so much nation states. It's going to be regional governance via blockchain and consensus.
Yeah. Well, on that note, let me ask you, I'm just trying to get a screen grab here. I did a video, it's about a month ago. I think it was on maybe March 15 or 16. We were looking at a decode at the time. Let's see if I can just crop this and put this on the screen for you guys. Okay, here you go. It was about Iran originally, but in the discussion, Nino was interviewing Kerry Cassidy, and they started talking about both Cuba and Canada. And just a couple of weeks ago, in the reference that you just made now, in this North American, security/economic zone that Trump seems to be creating, the Trump administration said that, yeah, we're going to be looking at Cuba here as soon as this Iran thing is over. And of course, Canada, Trump is still making these overtures of, Governor Carney and us being the 51st state and all of this tying into Greenland and the Golden Dome and all that. In your remote viewing stuff, have you gotten into all that? What's happening with Cuba and Canada? Can you give any insights on both those countries for the audience?
Not Canada specifically. I had remote viewing on a few months ago before anything was announced. Did I send that one to you? Cuba having a hard time, like no lights, no oil, no food in Cuba. The people are suffering.
I don't think I have that slide. Oh yes, misery in Cuba. Actually, yeah, I do. Let me bring this up. Yeah, great.
Yeah, this was okay. I had that. I said that in January. So that was published in January. It was for February events. So,
and for Maduro in most of these countries, before we actually go and do stuff, there's always seems to be a pre-infiltration of sorts to destabilize the country, to weaken the country. Is this what's happening to Cuba? Is that the demise itself of their governance system after Fidel Castro? Or is this some type of manipulation here to prime them for this eventual change of governance or rapprochement with the United States here?
The CIA and special forces have Cuban exiles embedded in Cuba who are trying to foment a revolution there. And I think you'll see Cuba's government fall. I don't know. I haven't been following that because I was out of the country for a while, but didn't we have a blockade on Cuba and no oil was being allowed in, and they're like out of gas and there's no lights? So they're getting ready. I think Trump is real busy with Iran, but Cuba will be next.
Mm-hmm. Let me finish on Iran with you then first. And so nothing on Canada so far.
No, I did it. No, we haven't done anything too much on Canada. I had a prediction that I was thinking that the two Western provinces would
separate.
Which ones are those?
Alberta.
Alberta.
And maybe Saskatchewan. Yeah.
Alberta and Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
Joining the U.S.
Wow.
That's a possibility. They're not happy out there.
Yeah, and that will re-spark the debate with Quebec also. After the Meech Lake Accord, I've been studying this for a long time too. We're seeing the rhetoric rise again in Quebec too. So we're in for some weird times. But let me ask you specifically on Carney. Were you one of those analysts looking at this, thinking that perhaps Carney was in fact the Trump pick for leading Canada into this next move in Trump's and the White Hat's chessboard, or is he controlled opposition? What do you think?
I actually don't have any data on that. You're thinking that Trump? Well, Carney is what was he? He was the head of like the
Bank of Canada, the Bank of England. He did a whole bunch of
Bank of England. I mean, he's a big time player. Yeah. Okay, so what you have to understand is that all these big players like Trump and Carney, Starmer, all the prime ministers and leaders, they know who they're working for. The owner of the country, and the owner of the country is the Crown and the Vatican. So it's owned by royal families still, and it's a lease, it's a trust. So they're working on behalf of the trust. So they're working for the real owners, and they pretend to be the leaders. Like, oh, Trump's the most powerful man. No, he's not. Mm-hmm. So it's a trust. It's a business. There are owners. The owners are the royal families and the Vatican.
Just to be clear, when you say that, Canadians think it's absolutely asinine that we are still owned by the Crown. Yet you're referring to something that's very pertinent and prescient and on point. I pointed this out when Carney met Trump. This is May 2025. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney told U.S. President Donald Trump that he met with the owners of Canada. But yet one of the mainstream news here in Canada said, "Excuse me, sir, let's backtrack." What are you talking about? And so most Canadians, this flew over their head. They never heard this. And it's still, it would be a big shock to them to hear you say that right now.
When the people from Europe came to colonize the U.S. and Canada, it was divvied up among the royal families, France, Spain, and England. And Germany was farther west, but they divvied up the land, and they made agreements, and they said, hey, these crazy people want to have a democratic republic and like self-governance. Okay, we'll let them try that. Keep it over there. Keep it away from Europe, but let's let them experiment with that and see how it works. But it's just pretend. We still own the place, and we still have the paperwork for the trust. Yeah.
So let's go back to this North American economic security zone, Golden Dome, and all that. You said Trump is busy with Iran. Where are we on that front right now? Are we still in it for a while? Have we kind of resolved it with the Strait of Hormuz being open again? Was this all strategic to maybe kill NATO, kill the banking cabal, reset, as you said at the beginning of the show, the Bretton Woods agreement that was set after World War II? Where are we on that?
This is not remote viewing data. This is just information that I get from sources that I have. So it's not remote viewing.
Sure.
What I'm being told is that this year none of this is going to get settled. It's going to expand. It's going to expand into a world war, that Russia is going to be going farther into Europe, and that oil will be $200 a barrel, and it'll stop airline travel, and the whole system needs to implode so that everyone will go cry uncle and say, please stop this madness. We'll take the digital ID, we'll take the blockchain money, give us a stable coin if it's worth, give us
universal basic income.
Give me my universal basic income. We'll just make this stop. That's what I think may be happening. And that's why it's important, not financial advice, to get the cryptos now so that you're not on universal basic income. If anybody thinks they have a 401k based on Wall Street or money in the bank that's going to have them live the rest of their lives, you might want to rethink that.
That's
silver. I think I did pretty well on silver. Marty Hibbs called that top. He said January 28th, it's going to top out at 120.
Yeah.
And it hit 118. Yeah. And I called Kitco and I said, I want to sell some silver.
Good for you. I have a friend or two who sold also at the top. They were looking at some of the same data. Now it's funny, Michael Oliver, I don't know if you saw this in the last week or two, he's suggesting again that silver might make its way between 300 and 500 here by the summer. What say you guys on that?
Marty Hibbs, I just did a segment with him, and he said 150 by the end of this year.
Yeah.
So, it could go higher. But, okay, what Marty didn't say that it would not go to 300. He said he's comfortable at 150, but it's got to get to 100 first. Once it gets to 100, his charts reform and he gets new data, and then he'll be able to.
Yeah, and he said something similar to me the last time he was on the show. He said, yeah, maybe void of any weird political or financial changes, 150 makes sense. But if we have a confluence of events on the financial front, you talked about the bond market exploding, then, your best guess is as good as mine here. And then we get into the unobtainium, the $600 silver, and some of these forecasts go high.
Here's a freebie for you, not financial advice. Is when I took some of my money out of silver, what I invested it in. We heard of we remote viewed. What did we? Yeah, I did remote view this, but we did an analysis on it. We do a segment called Crypto Mastermind, where we do fundamental analysis and then technical analysis of 3 tokens every week. And one that's on our radar is Canton. Have you heard of Canton? CAN?
No.
If you look at Canton Network, they have a website, and they say that they're partnered with the Depository Trust Clearing Corporation, the DTCC.
Wow, okay.
The DTCC, if you look at the DTCC website, they say we're partnering with Canton to upgrade all the stocks and securities. We're going to tokenize the entire system. For those of you that don't know, the DTCC is the organization, the company, the corporation, the DTC, Depository Trust Corporation, that handles the paperwork for all the stocks and securities in the U.S. If you can go ask AI, what's the total investment of the DTCC? It'll come back to $100.3 trillion. Mm-hmm. So they're going to tokenize stocks and securities and financial instruments so that they will all be done on blockchain. They won't have to have paperwork come in and be stamped and notarized and put on a file. It's all going to be done on blockchain, and it'll be validated, and it can be traded like this. So if any portion of that $100 trillion goes into Canton today is 15 cents.
Crazy.
So I put a little bit into that. And don't anybody out there say, Dick, I heard you on John Claude's show and I cashed out my 401k for my.
No, don't do it.
Don't do it. I'm a retired newsman. I'm a remote viewer. Remote viewing might be just crazy. And so don't do anything based on anything I say.
I love it. Thank you for that. Speaking of Cliff High, we were just talking about the $600 silver. Cliff and company are watching the show. They're having fun, and they just sent me a couple of pictures. And I asked if I could share them, and they said yes. So here you go. The beautiful doggos there watching the show.
Who is this from?
Cliff High.
Oh, Cliff.
Yeah.
Cliff, I need to talk to you.
We were talking about you, Cliff, just before the show.
I'll ask him privately what he did to his face, because he looks a lot younger.
He looks like
he's having some treatments. I know.
He looks like Benjamin Button. Like he just did a segment a couple of days ago with me, and I was just like, "What the hell?"
I hadn't seen him in a while. Cliff, you look good, and I have a funny story to tell Cliff that I'll only tell him private, like where I got stem cells.
Here's a picture of Cliff, and that's the amazing Heidi there by his side. And
love will make you young.
They were watching the show. There you go. Thanks, guys. Thanks for sharing the pictures. Give him a lot of love in the chat there. Okay, Dick, that's a big introduction. We've went on a couple of things here, tangents, and I think it was important for us to catch up. I have quite a bit of your slides on some of your latest work. So let me bring one up. Go ahead.
Yeah, these slides are just monthly events. Now, I didn't send you any of our project work. We do 3 basic types of remote viewing. We remote view cryptocurrencies, which we kind of pioneered that. Cryptocurrencies are difficult to remote view because it's not a tangible thing. It's computer code. It's code that causes something to happen. And so we remote view cryptos. We remote view events like the death of the dollar, the collapse of the bond market. We just remote viewed There's a climate meeting where they're going to come up with some new policy, like what would be the results of that? What's the World Economic Forum trying to do? Future events. And then the third thing we remote view is monthly events. So every month we sit down in April and do a session and try to get ideas and concepts and visuals, like what's going to be the big news event for next month, and we draw that. So we'll give you a few of our hits. And I have to admit, I don't think any of us saw the Trump assassination attempt last night.
The correspondent dinner?
Yeah, I don't think I have to look at our work. I was in Korea, so I didn't see all the work. We need to scan that, but I don't think I got it. So.
There's a lot of weird stuff about that. It's like I've been watching this, and it looks very "quote unquote" psyop-y, if you ask me, man. I don't know. I'm not convinced.
Well,
I was on the road all day yesterday and today, and I was just like looking at the headlines and some of these videos and crazy coincidences. AJ is also questioning here. This looks a lot like a staged event. I don't know. Trump was quick with the videos, and we're like, yeah, we still don't know who the assassinations are for Charlie Kirk or Epstein's suicide, but we have this video very quick. So there's a lot of weird stuff here happening in the last 24 hours.
I'll tell you, the guy that impressed me was the Secret Service agent when it first happened that walked to the front of the dais and stood in front of Trump and just put his body right up in front of Trump.
Yeah.
That's a brave man. There you're going to see him right there. I want more Americans like that. Like that's okay. That's America to me.
Yeah.
That guy. Okay. I'm going to stand in front of the president, shoot me instead of him.
No, that's his job, right? But you remember, you guys did the Butler PA one. It looks like that same girl is still here. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, not as impressive.
Not in the slightest.
You know, I think it may come out that the Secret Service agent got shot. It may have been friendly fire.
Oh,
he may have got shot by one of his buddies, not the gunman.
Yeah. Oh.
But okay, so
before we get into the remote viewing, hold on.
The boulder. This was I did a remote viewing, and I said there's going to be a flood, and then there's going to be a landslide with boulders on the road. It's going to block passage. Well, that was close to home because 2 weeks after I did that remote viewing, we had a flood in Hawaii, and these huge boulders came down and blocked the only road to the North Shore to Haleiwa and the resorts up there. So people, they've got one lane open, but the road's going to be closed for months.
So this is still part of the month ahead in news forecast segment?
Yeah, I did that in March. I said it would happen in April, and it happened the first, like April 2nd, I think, April 3rd. Yeah. So we published it before it happened.
Crazy spooky. How about this one? What are you guys looking at here?
Okay, that's one. Okay, there's an interesting story. I'm given a blind target. All I'm given is the target ID, like L1Q2-Z3N4. Okay, what am I seeing? And I see a guy standing in a spotlight. And I see a guy giving a speech. All right. I see a guy that is a politician, and he's making decisions, and he's getting in limousines. I see him walking. He never walks alone. He always walks with a security detail around him. I had a really good visual of this, him walking through like the White House or someplace, flanked by advisors and Secret Service. And then I'm looking and I go, why am I thinking of Marco Rubio? And I'm sitting there in the session, and you got to realize that you're a little bit bonkers at that moment, because you're in between worlds. Like you're sitting at your desk, but your mind is elsewhere, and I'm thinking, I wonder if I could draw Marco Rubio to where you could recognize him. So I'm sketching this on paper just by memory, and I write Marco, and I think, why am I thinking of Marco Rubio? So I turn the session in, and I turn it in, and the people at Task It said, okay, you're done. I go, all right. whatever. So a week later, I get feedback, and the target was, who is going to be president in January 2030?
Wow.
So I'm calling Marco Rubio.
Really? Dude, I was in New York 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Anyways, and through a series of happenstance, I'm at Trump Tower here, but through a series of weird happenstance, I was part of some crazy conversations. And I'm talking about people who, from my point of view, were probably intelligence agency type folk. And they were really well read in. But for some reason, we were starting having this conversation, and they brought up Rubio. And they talked about the lack of separation, because they were talking about, okay, hold on, let me backtrack. People asked them at the table who would be running for the Democrats. And they're like, well, there's nobody. And they kind of laughed at this Kamala story that we're hearing in the last couple of weeks. And people asked, well, what about this guy from California, Newsom? They're like, no, he's going to get hit by a car. Like, he's not going to win, blah, blah, blah. Like, stuff like that's what they said. Don't quote me on that. And anyways, with respect to Trump, I asked them, I said, are you guys like, it feels like you're putting out these feelers and these kind of like trial balloons to let us know that you might be pulling the cord on Trump here at some point to have him exit the stage and replace him. And they were...
Okay, let me interrupt. Sorry.
Okay.
In the remote viewing that we did, in the session that I did Rubio,
yeah,
2 other viewers said, whoever's that person now, he's going to have health problems and he's going to step aside. So they were saying, Naeem and Edward Reardon saying Trump's going to get pulled at some point for health reasons. Okay, so continue your story. Sorry to...
Well, they got really clammy on that one. It was uncomfortable to them, but as far as I understood the body language, they were affirming without affirming that definitely was being considered at this point. And further into the conversation, they brought up Rubio, but that was specifically on some policies having to do with AI, with dealing with China, maybe winning the race on decryption, quantum decryption, all that stuff. They were talking about that as being a major concern. But they seemed very, very keen on Rubio. So when you brought that up, I was like, whoa, I have to share that part. So I think that's interesting.
I have been remote viewing a long time, and I know the feel of good data. And that was a blind target. I didn't know it was who's going to be president. And I'm going, God, I'm really thinking of Marco Rubio. Why am I trying to decide how to draw Marco Rubio? I was going to put like that betting place where you go put $1,000 on who'd be president.
On the market?
Yeah, I would put $1,000 on it. Don't anybody bet money on anything.
Don't put your 401k.
No. I may be crazy. I claim to see across space and time, and we know that's not possible.
No.
So, I may be barking mad. Here's what I was told about Trump in 2017, when, because of my remote viewing, somebody very well-connected reached out to me, somebody who conveyed policy and directives and intentions from people who ran the world. He would go around and talk to corporate leaders and tell them what they needed to know and what they needed to do. And because of my remote viewing, took me under his wing, said, you're pretty good at that. You got to be careful. Let me tell you a few things. And so I was talking with him, and I said, this was 2017. Well, what's up with Donald Trump? And he said, Donald Trump was put in there to oversee the bankruptcy of the United States. Because of his business acumen, he is going to be there for the transition to this new system when the old system collapses, and he'll bring in the new system. And so I go, okay, filed that away. 2020, Trump loses the election.
Shit.
And I said to my guy, I said, you told me Trump was there for to bring in cryptos.
Yeah.
What happened? He goes, well, just wait.
Yeah.
Just wait and see. So apparently the crypto infrastructure wasn't completed. It was supposed to be ready by like 2021. There was the dawning of the new age. We had a celestial event where all the planets lined up with the stars. There was some big event, planetary thing in 2021. It was
like all the 7 planets aligning or crossing the
something crossed into a new, I forget
Yeah.
what it was, but the people that run the world, they're very cognizant of that, and they do things based on that. But they were supposed to have this new system ready to go.
Oh, is it? We were all above the galactic plane. You know how some are below, some are above. I think that's what it was.
So that's a powerful event. So they were going to try to get this new system in, but they hadn't met a lot of the benchmarks, so they had to delay it. And so Trump was taken out, and they put a placeholder in, Biden, who didn't have any idea what was going on, just ran things with the autopilot.
What do you mean? He was sharp as a tack.
He was sharp. He was really good.
So he's the auto pen president. What are you talking about?
So now Trump is in. They're getting ready for regional governance, and they're setting up this region to be a very strong region. And Trump is, he's going to take Cuba. He took Venezuela. He's got a plan, and they're going to be doing regional governance on blockchain, and it will be less nation state.
Yeah.
And so Canada might get scooped up as part of it might just be called America.
Yeah. There's different aspects to that too. We could do a whole show on that. Someone on the show says Mark Rubio was not born in the USA. He can't be president. Well, that didn't prevent Barry Soetoro, but that's another subject. Speaking about JD Vance and Marco Rubio, Rubio, I thought was interesting that he was also at this very special critical minerals meeting, ministerial meeting in Washington on February 4. Remember, that was just after China had stopped the majority of exports of silver around the world, and everybody was panicking, and we saw that huge rise up in the silver prices. Interesting that he would be part of these meetings also, making these new deals for these price floors for critical minerals, including silver. In my conversation, though, and I want to have your take on this, I was under the impression that they wanted to do this trial balloon of removing Trump because we were getting to the next phase, whatever that next phase would be, and that Trump's the Trump derangement syndrome, so to speak, would be in the way of the country healing and moving together in lockstep in that new phase, right? And you've had this before, you've seen this before, we've all seen this where our friends or families, you can talk to them about all you want, and they're just like, no, Orange Man bad, they can't hear. And if we are going to move to a new phase and heal somehow this country and move together, that would need to be addressed. And when I mentioned that, that's when they brought up the Rubio thing. So,
maybe Rubio won't be president. Maybe it won't be the president of the United States by 2030. It might be he's the head of the new regional governance.
Whatever
that comes out of. We're going to see changes that will be so astounding. I think you're not going to recognize this place in 4 years. It's going to be just AI, just the natural disasters, just the collapse of the financial system. Everything.
On AI, I forgot to ask you at the beginning. Let me ask you this. You brought this up, this secrets to reveal part, when I asked you if we're on this accelerated timeline or countdown to something. You talked about being in the secrets reveal portion of times that we would get to where we don't trust anything. On that point, again, speaking with Cliff and with Richard, Woo Woo Dude, we were, and also with Janine, we've looked at this. AI seems to be accelerating the point where all humanity gets to a certain period where they say, okay, at this point, we can no longer verify anything, whether it's true or false. How close are we to that?
Aren't you already seeing that?
Yeah.
Jean-Claude, where do you get news? I look at pictures on X or wherever, and it's all AI generated, and it's all tailored with the algorithms to feed you what you want to see and what you want to believe. And everybody's getting a different feed, and nothing's verifiable.
Right.
I worked as a TV reporter, as a professional journalist for 34 years, and back in the 70s and 80s, and even the 90s when I was doing that. we were forced to be credible. I mean, when we went out and reported something, we attributed it to an official source. The police, the mayor said this, the city council, the Secret Service, the prosecuting attorney says this attribution. Or we would see it with our own eyes, like, okay, the tsunami came and it knocked down 4 houses. I can see them 1, 2, 3, 4. I talked to the people.
Right.
If and there were only like a handful of sources of news, so, and they cherished their credibility. You would, if a reporter made a mistake, it was like the worst thing in the world. You'd get fired immediately.
Yeah.
Likewise, if I would have called a politician a rapist, a pedophile, a fascist, a Nazi, instantly be brought into the news director's office, fired, and a huge apology would be made. It was not allowed to report such things. And now they do it nonstop, 24/7. Continually.
Yeah.
So there is no source of news. What does anybody believe? Any of the major news media? Do you have any trust in the court system and the justice system? Do you believe medicine? Do you don't want to get in trouble there? Do you believe science?
Yeah.
Do you believe the scientists? Nobody believes anything anymore. There's nothing credible.
Yeah.
So it's this, and I'm convinced that what's being introduced to society is noise. It's noise and tension to create an event, a series of events where we'll accept this new system. So we're in the tension buildup. We're in the noise buildup. We're in the creating of friction. We're in the time of friction, and the friction is going to burst into a flame, and something new is going to be born.
It's like we're close to it. The question was like, what do we do on the other side? If we get to that point where nobody trusts anything, we can't verify anything. And this was my point about removing all the division, removing the Trump derangement syndrome, so that we could have some resemblance of moving forward in a unified field. If nobody trusts anything, how is this new, and I'll say in quote here, world order supposed to exist if nobody gives any credence to it? It seems to be a very, very difficult tipping point for humanity.
One thing I want to talk to Cliff High about, Cliff, I want to talk to you, is AI and how he's dealing with that. He and I are the same age. Like, we're just old enough to be, irritated enough to not want to. I mean, I try to keep up with technology. Here's my illustration of AI and technology. Have you heard of the 42 fold? Is it 24 folds or 42 folds? If you take a piece of paper, it's like how many microns thick? It's very thin. If you fold it one time, this is a illustration of exponential. You fold it over and it's still not that thick. You fold it again. So every time you're doubling it, and you fold it 4 times, and now it's like, okay, 1/8 of an inch thick. If you fold it 42 times, it'll go to the moon. So we've got AI that's folding itself over like every month, and it's going to go to the moon in just a couple of folds.
I saw one of those AI company leaders doing an interview with CEO of a diary of a CEO. That guy channels on YouTube, and he was saying that every new iteration of AI coming up now, when they release a new, it's 10x what it was before. Like at that speed here, where everybody's saying it's imminent, this quantum or the singularity event here. But not just that. What those guys were talking about at the table in New York was this fear that AI would completely eliminate any possibility of encryption moving forward, and all the countries are extremely worried about that right now.
Yeah, and I'm using it. I'm just barely learning. I use it for diddly shit, little things like. Do you make your own thumbnails?
Some, but I use AI now too.
That was the worst part of my day. Is like I'll at night I'll think of like something I want to say. The next day I'll write some notes. I'm going to do a YouTube. Like, okay, I get up and I deliver my YouTube message with flair, and I have a good time doing it, and I enjoy doing it. Then I edit it and put some video on it, and it's therapeutic for me. I enjoy it. And it makes me feel like I'm still on the news. And then I get that done. I'm uploading, and then I need a thumbnail. So I got to go through and find a shot of me, and then I've got to clip that frame,
put a background,
got to resize it, and then you got to write the text and and output the whole thing. Now I sat in front of a green screen and I went. I just made faces and I took up and just screen grabs. And now I set it up in Grok where I just go, Grok, make me a thumbnail of me being serious and say blah, blah, blah. And then spits it out. So
it's crazy. I've been using it more and more. I have a friend of mine who owns a venture capitalist firm, and he's saying that he saved $400,000 last year on all the legal paperwork. Like he says, he's not removing yet the high level guys, but all the grunt work, all the research, all the jurisprudence, AI.
I made a trust, and I did it with the CFO of my LLC, John Conrad at Numeratus, and we got on Copilot. And we had already tried to make an earlier trust with an attorney, and it would have been like weeks of work and about $20,000. Mm-hmm. And we just did it with AI.
Yeah.
You can do that and it'll produce a document. So company memorandums, you just resolutions, all that stuff. I need a resolution for my LLC and just.
Well, what that interviewer was saying, I'll see if I can bring the link up, but he was saying something crazy that maybe within a year, close to 90% of those administrative jobs don't exist anymore. Companies are going to just pay to use a certain bandwidth on their preferred AI and replace most of their workforce. And at some point, some of the blue collar workers too, it's still down the pike also. So it's a crazy new world.
Well, I think what you will eventually see is AI and 3D printing, so that you will be able to just make whatever you want. Like I need something to do this, and the AI will design it. And I'm told that where we're going is manufacturing will be done on site with raw materials using AI, robotics, and 3D printing. So you won't need to have container ships hauling shit from China to Walmart. You'll just have whatever manufacturers on site get the raw materials, and AI will design it, and you'll be able to make anything. Just the AI will design it for you.
Hey, let me bring this up. You hadn't sent this to me, but I watched this the other day. This was Edward. The remote viewer just dropped a bombshell. Our future world leader may not be human. Is that you want to get into that?
We did the global climate. That was Edward Reardon's work.
Yeah.
I forget exactly what he said.
My question was about AI. Like how
maybe AI is going to be the leader.
Well, I was thinking that as a segue. How close are we to AI actually running the show, and is it already maybe in many cases, and we just don't know about it?
Well, if you look at the free version of AI, or even the AI that you can pay a few bucks to use, you know that the people running things have something 100 times better. Like they're not going to give us the real thing.
Yeah,
it's like drones that you can buy a DJI for $600, and they've got to have ones that are.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm sure they're vastly advanced. That's.
Well, when you think about
target what we like to do at Future Forecasting Group, ffgrv.com, is that type of target. It's like, what's the future going to be? And I probably shouldn't talk about this because it may be a target I'm going to get next week. It's like, will governance be by AI personalities? I think we're moving to a world of consensus. Like they've been training us for many years. Like anytime you have an interaction with your bank, your pharmacy, you buy something, you see a video like, hey, how was your experience? Rate this. So the digital age has people, the Gen X, Gen Z rather, they've been trained to like, oh, you got to rate everything, like give it a score. And we may be governing ourselves by like, okay, rate, let's vote online. You use your digital ID.
It sounds like a bad episode of Black Mirror. I don't know if you saw it, but it was a world where everybody was rating everybody. And oh my God, it looked like a horrible prison.
I'll tell you something, my experience in Korea. Seoul, Korea is a very modern, intense city. It's totally digital. Like it's totally online. You can't order anything, it's all ordering is digital. The people are very focused. They are fit, slender, well-dressed. There are no fat people that I saw. There are no people with nose rings. I didn't see tattoos. There's no blue hair. There's no homeless. In Korea, in your condo or your home, you have trash bins that are separated by like paper, plastic, organic waste. Your organic waste bin has a lock on it with a key fob that you use. Like you can open it with your electronic signal, and then you toss your waste in it, and only you are allowed to toss your organic waste in there. And they weigh it and measure it each month. And if you use too much, you're fined. So they're monitoring and limiting the amount of food waste that you can throw out. Okay, so we're on the street in Gangnam, Korea at 10 a.m. on a Sunday, out for a little walk because it's a sunny day. So Mimi and I are walking around, and we go down this street and we see this restaurant that we ate at a year ago. Had really good fresh grilled mackerel. Like, oh man, remember that restaurant? That's so good. We got to go eat there. And so she went to see if it was going to be open. The door was open. The owner came out, and he's a Korean guy, and he said, well, I'm remodeling the restaurant. I'm changing the menu. Oh, sorry, we liked your mackerel. And Mimi said, where can we get mackerel? And he said, I'll make you some right now. You go, no. We just had breakfast Sunday morning. He goes, no, I insist. I'm going to make you some mackerel. So he says, wait here. And he brought us coffee. And the coffee was really strong, really sweet, like a lot of sugar in it. And we didn't want to drink it. We didn't want to be rude. So we're holding on to it. And he gave us the mackerel. We're walking back to the hotel, and we got to walk up there's kind of hilly in Seoul. And Mimi's carrying these 2 cups of coffee, and it's kind of cumbersome. And I said, well, like, dump it in that bush, then we'll take the cups to the hotel. She goes, oh, no, you can't. I said, well, you pour it in the drain. She goes, no, you can't. You can't dump anything out on the street. There's cameras everywhere. And she would not. There was a trash bin. You couldn't throw a cup of coffee in a trash bin because it wasn't the right type of trash. And she would not do it because they had cameras on you. And so we had to carry that back to the hotel and dispose of it properly. But that's, they'll have facial recognition, know who you dumped coffee out in the street. You get a fine.
Scary
That's
stuff.
coming.
Yeah.
That's coming to us soon.
Let's look at a few more slides. I'm interested because you talked about Earth changes earlier. This here, meteor exploding over.
This was in March.
Yeah.
And I was laying back on my bed listening to theta tones with a mask on, and I saw a meteorite, a ball streaking. I said, oh, there's going to be a meteorite, make news. And I put this in, and it happened that night. It happened it may have happened as I was doing it. It was like almost real time. So, yeah, I mean, there's asteroids all over the place. People could look and say, oh, Dick, and you could say there's going to be a meteor because there's meteors all the time. But that one made news. And this was a good one. I was given a blind target.
Yeah.
I was laying on the bed, and I go, I saw it clearly. I went, that's the place, that's Close Encounters of the Third Kind. That, what do they call it? Devil's Tower. I said, now I see a thing like Devil's Tower. It radiates energy and power. like a fossilized thing that was a living thing eons ago from another epoch. This is rock now, but it was life from a hidden history in plain sight. People come to see this. And so that's a pretty good hit. That was the target photo.
There's many researchers out there that suggest that this location and other similar ones are in fact very old fossilized tree trunks. Do you think that that's possible? You're talking about life here. Where were you going with the life?
That was the idea that I got when remote viewing it.
Wow.
So I don't know. When you remote view, you're not omniscient. You're more like a 3-year-old kid seeing something. Look, Daddy, it's a big thing. You're not that smart as a remote viewer. You're very childlike. You can probe and get some very complex data, but not all of it. Like it's really limited. Like what you experience in a remote viewing session, if you could experience it, you'd probably be disappointed. Like, wow, that was very fleeting, and that was like kind of hazy. I didn't really understand that. So, but yeah, I think that could have been a tree.
Wow, fascinating. What are these geoglyphs?
Oh, this one was, I'd never heard of these. There's some geoglyphs in Kazakhstan. And I got the idea of that there is something under that there's, I realized I saw that there's some geometric pattern on the ground, but there's something underneath it that's lost in time. So what I say, this is almost unbelievable. Something so large, out of place, it rewrites history. I don't know. Maybe it's just some guys made a pattern in the ground, but maybe there's something under there. There have been 6 previous civilizations here. It's my understanding that we're either number 6 or number 7. So the Earth is like they put a civilization here, and it does its thing, and they observe it, and it's a good show, and it's a great experiment, and then it runs its course, and then they wipe the place clean, and the Earth kind of reforms, and then another civilization comes up. It's been here billions of years, so there have been previous civilizations, and a lot of these things are evidence of that. I was
trying to set up this joke since you said you wanted the fish, but this is the clip I meme on Big Smackerel.
Well,
reality.
I'm sitting here making all these assertions that are really probably astounding to a lot of people, but it's what I've discovered in my 27 years of remote viewing and talk with people who know. Like, we were seated here. There is a God of the whole universe, but there are lesser gods. There are beings that are much more advanced than us, and they go around and seed planets, and they make civilizations, and they observe them, and they make it a business. And it's how interesting would it be to take a planet and seed a bunch of hominids on it and then watch what they do? Okay, let's give them fire. All right, let's give them the wheel. All right, let's give them gunpowder. This will be a good show. Let's give them the internal combustion engine. They can drive around faster, and then they can have better wars. Let's give them the airfoil, teach them how to fly things. Okay, they're flying now. This is really good. What a show this is. Should we give them the atomic bomb? Yeah, why not? Yeah. What the hell? Should we give them 0-point energy? No, they might break the whole universe with that. So let's hold off on that one.
We'll have to wait on that one. Yeah. Speaking of 0-point energy and all this crazy new technology that appears to be cracking out into the open, we're seeing in the last couple of weeks some weird stuff and a whole bunch of scientists being disappeared. Some people are suggesting here, as the New York Post here is saying, David Wilcock apparently committed suicide here, dead at 53. There's a lot of conspiracies out there saying that maybe he's in WITSEC. Some are saying that he's in a hidey hole somewhere with the secret space program, and some other people saying no, he was actually just depressed. He ran out of money, had a lot of issues, and the Savati Aerospace company he was invested in wasn't paying dividends, and they were part of different lawsuits, apparently as a Ponzi scheme. So there's all these theories, but nonetheless, his publisher died 2 days before. This guy here now, whistleblower Matthew James Sullivan, who was going to testify before Congress on UFO secrecy, was just found dead. This other guy too here, and Trump coming out saying that he would be investigating all of these 12 or so, even more now, missing scientists. First of all, on the David Wilcock thing, have you looked into this at all? Have the remote viewers looked into this?
No.
Okay.
I never really followed David Wilcock. I think I saw him on a show or two, but he just never. I never was drawn to him. I never read his books or listened to him too much. I just, something was like, not for me.
Mm-hmm. And what are you making of this? There is a phenomenon going on with people that are missing now. Have you guys looked into that? And
okay. Yeah. First of all, back to David Wilcock. Yeah. I've never been a great mysteries guy. Like I watched a couple of UFO shows, but I don't get into the like what's Atlantis and Graham Hancock and all that. Like we've remote viewed a couple of things like Göbekli Tepe. I'd never heard of it. I don't research that stuff. So the missing scientist, I'll tell you what I can say about that. We were contacted by a producer that is going to be doing a series for a cable network on remote viewing, and they're interviewing some of us. And they said, could you remote view the newscaster's mother, Guthrie? And I said, okay, I'll give that. I won't promise anything. So I gave that out to a target to some of the viewers. They got good data, like she was abducted and taken somewhere in the desert and deceased. I don't think we published that. We try to not do current events. So then this Daz Smith, one of our viewers, is heavy into UFOs. So he gave out a target that was the missing general.
Right.
I worked that, and I got some interesting data that was kind of disturbing. And we at Future Forecasting Group, we have someone who looks out for us. Part of the reason we made Future Forecasting Group was to keep the bullshit out of remote viewers. Need a safe place to remote view legitimate targets that are well cued and not be abused, like somebody's missing cat, or is my husband cheating on me, or national secrets, things of prurient or sexual interest. We don't do that. And we don't spy. We wouldn't be anything is considered spying. So I did this session, and it was pretty interesting.
You're talking about this guy here at the bottom right row? You were looking at him?
Yes. Okay. And the person who makes sure that we don't get in trouble said, Dick, don't publish that. Don't work any more targets on that. We're done. Well, that's a red line. We're not doing it. Don't cease all activities on that. So for our own safety and well-being, we're not talking about that. We're not working it. That's a very sensitive topic.
Oh, I can imagine. Let me ask you a question, and feel free to not answer. I'm just, because I don't know what you're getting at here.
So
I'm looking at these missing people, and clearly a pattern is emerging, and it feels to me that we're on the verge of something, and these people are being corralled for some reason, and there seems to be a clock on that as well. Is that what you're getting, or did you get a why now without getting into the details of these personalities, where they are and what happens? But the why now
somebody part? Being taken somewhere in custody against their will.
Huh.
That's all I'll say in that. Here's what I'll say about UFOs that I'm looking for based on remote viewing. I'm looking for a gallery to be presented of high quality, like the TikTok photos, only better,
Yeah.
Like, okay, you're going to go to a website and there's going to be a gallery, like click on this, and this is the UFO gun camera, and it's going to be really high quality, and it's going to be admitted that yes, this is these legitimate pictures, and we have a chain of custody on where they were produced, and that's going to be presented to the public.
Yeah.
So timestamp this. I could be wrong, but I think that's going to be the first salvo in UFO disclosure. It's a gallery, and I drew that somewhere. I didn't send it to you. I've got it somewhere.
I had a dream or a vision maybe 10 years ago, and it had something to do with a pre-canned educational network where they would be, as you're saying, very high quality video footage, pictures, different multimedia, but it would be presented by people who were involved in, for example, old Star Trek movies like Captain Kirk or William Shatner, or like a gravitas voice, an older person that people would believe, and bridging the gap between the sci-fi world and the reality, but that this was already ready, pre-canned, ready to go. And as you're saying that now too, like, do you think we're close to getting that the rollout plan for that information?
I think it's been happening. You talk about Star Trek and you talk about movies. All these movies are predictive programming. All of Hollywood is to program us, to funnel us in a direction of knowledge of things they want us to know. We got that Spielberg movie coming out.
Yeah, the Disclosure one.
That I stopped going to movie theaters, but I might go see that one in the theater.
I said the same thing. Let me see if we can bring it up. When I saw the trailer a month or two ago, I'm like, okay, I want to see this. Disclosure Day, I think that's what's it called.
Well, are you old enough? Did you see Close Encounters when it came out?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I remember I was like 20 years old or something.
Yeah. I've seen it multiple times. That was amazing. Yeah, it's eerie at the same time, guys. If you haven't seen the trailer, I recommend you go check it out. I'll show you a clip. I posted this the other day. Clefai reposted it too. This one here. I don't know if it's AI or anything, but man, that was over Austin, Texas here on April 23rd. What was that thing? Interesting.
Well, there's life all over the galaxy. The galaxy is full of life. And they created us. We're their experiment, they've been watching over us the whole time. So, and there's other ones that come and are fighting with them, and there's competing race. It's to look out at the night sky and think there's just us is ridiculous.
I think a lot of humans are down for that information now. And
I think when it comes out, they're going to go, well, I knew it.
Yeah.
But it's still going to be startling when they see their first alien.
Yeah. I was having a conversation with Joe and Woo Woo Dude 2 weeks ago on the Wacky Woo, and it was brought to my attention through a series of other contacts that perhaps the fortification of our financial system, this blockchain technology, and perhaps the fortification also of digital ID, as what we're seeing now, has something to do with making this planet a more suitable environment to be able to track not just humans, but humans now living amongst ETs. Well, does that make sense to you also?
It's my understanding that blockchain predates our civilization, and that humans can only be exposed to blockchain and make use of blockchain when the technology is released to get us to this point. Like, for example, you couldn't use an iPhone in 1800. You give an iPhone, it wouldn't do you any good because you don't have programmers to program the software. You don't have the metallurgy to make the case. You don't have the Wi-Fi network. So all of this needs to be rolled out step by step. It's gradual. The rollout of technology has a certain, rate at which it's allowed. But it may be that blockchain will allow commerce, interstellar commerce. So if you have a signal that can be quantum entangled, so you don't have to send a radio signal.
Yeah.
And I had heard, somebody has told me that H-bar has bragged that they can transmit H-bar to Mars with no latency, meaning it would have to be quantum entangled. So it's a quantum signal where it happens here. It also is mirrored there. But maybe blockchain is the system of transactions for our interaction with ET.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're not going to bring a flying saucer down and haul out bars of gold and hunks of silver.
Of course not.
No. So they'll use the silver to build the.
On the question of disclosure, do you think it's 26? Let me rephrase. We've been getting drip disclosure for a long time. I mean, humans in general, in the mass, knowing once and for all.
What I've been told and what our remote viewing looks at is that 26 is going to be the year of turmoil. 26 is going to be the hard time. It's going to we're hard to get through. 27 is going to be, now things are starting to fall into place and the new system begins to come online. Mm-hmm. So I would say 27. But the thing I'm looking for is the gallery of UFO pictures that you can click on and okay, these are real UFOs here, take a look. And you'll be able to look at pictures and clips. And those pre-canned educational shows narrated by William Shatner. Yeah. That would be perfect. Captain Kirk. For years we've known, but now you can be told this is the Zeta Reticulans, this is the Pleiadians.
Could you imagine?
They're our friends.
I just saw William Shatner.
Or will it be, oh my God, they're coming to eat us. We need to all band together and fight these horrid ETs. It's like the invasion, help, give up all your rights because the aliens are coming to eat us.
I think maybe the alien invasion card or whatever it is, it might be somehow, again, orchestrated, some of it real, some of it not real, in order to bring out some of this technology. It's the perfect vantage point, as opposed to talking about the secrecy and the deaths over the last decades. Well, here's how, we could slowly bring that back into civilization without having too much turmoil for hiding it for about 100 years or so. Do you think that's part of the game?
It may be, and this is just speculation. This is pure speculation. Maybe it'll be something like, we ran the Bible through AI and analyzed it, and the Bible was kind of the Word of God, but it was written by man and it was misinterpreted a little bit. The fundamentalist religious people would hate this, but we need to revise this a little bit, and we need to revise it given that we are having interaction with our ET brothers. So what you need to know is, yes, there's ET. Yes, we're interacting with them, and the Bible is just being tweaked a little bit. So still the Word of God, and you still need to behave, but you need to behave in this new system of fairness and equity and brotherhood of our ET brethren. Maybe rolled out like that.
If you guys want to see a crazy show and you haven't seen it already, I did a series, Angels and the Great Deception Exposed. We had 3 episodes a year, maybe 2 years ago now. This one is with Paul Wallace. Fascinating stuff. We were decoding Mauro Biglino's book, The Naked Bible, and it touches upon the subject Mr. Allgire just brought to you. So go check it out. It's still on my YouTube. Speaking of YouTube, guys, if you want to find more work here from the Future Forecasting Group, you can find here Dick and Company on their YouTube channel. Dick, what's coming up here? Any special guests, new interviews coming up? What can people expect here when they subscribe to your YouTube channel?
I think the most important thing we're doing right now on our private site is Bull Run Bunker, crypto masterminds, how to adapt and thrive in this new technological world that we're going into with blockchain, because blockchain is going to be part of our lives. Cryptocurrency, tokenization of everything, the tokenization of the world. On YouTube, I pretty much make that up as I go. So I'm on a live stream right now. I'll tell them I'll call them back. Like somebody's calling me. Sorry about that.
Saved by the bell, Dick.
So yeah, future forecasting group. I'm going to do I'll summarize. I'm going to do a segment. I'm going to do a rant tomorrow, the next day, on why you can't believe anything. You know, why is news being fragmented into just fragments of BS? What's the purpose behind that? And why is it happening and what you can't?
And we'll find that on your Twitter and on your YouTube channel.
Yeah. Jean-Claude, I always enjoy talking with you. You produce a really nice show.
Thank you.
It's a good segment. Great conversations with you.
Thank you so much, Dick, for being on. Folks, again, go check out futureforecastinggroup.com as well as their YouTube channel. The links are in the description box below. Mr. Allgire, I believe you feel well. I'll stay here for 2 more minutes. I have some prizes to give away for the audience, but I know you have a phone call to take. So thank you so much again for your time. And anytime, and your team also, if they have some RVs they want to talk about, just hook me up and we'll do a show with you.
Next time we come out with a big project, I'll give it to you and we'll come talk about it. Because I was in Korea, I didn't really assemble I've been kind of offline for a few weeks.
I appreciate all of your time. Thank you so much, Mr. Allgire. Have a great evening. Okay. Thank you. Au revoir. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I'm bringing up on the screen now 2 prizes I think we have to give away. Carla had sent me just before the show. So if I can get back to the page here. Is it this one? Hold on. No. Hold on, where did it go? There you go. So these are the special Shungite pendants on sale right now at 40% off. This can be found at ascensionorganites.com. And this is the pyramid we're giving away for you guys this evening. If you guys were watching some of the news coming out today, there was a note that was presented to Mr. Trump and Melania at the White House correspondent dinner. And on that note, there was a specific word. I'm not looking for the word. I'm looking for the gematria meaning of that word. So if you guys were paying attention to all the news, you probably know the answer to that. You will be the lucky winner here of this pyramid. In the meantime, of course, please do go check out ascensionorganites.com. And what's coming up here on the schedule as well, if you haven't seen the Astrology of Death decode that I did yesterday with Janine and Astrid, really fascinating stuff, adding to the conversation here. Again, very tragic situation. Janine wasn't able to connect live with us, so we're having some issues. Janine also in Korea, but she did give a read on David Wilcock as well. So if you haven't seen that episode, it's on YouTube and also on Rumble. So let me go back to see if you guys have the answer there on the live chat. Not a good question. Well, yeah, I didn't talk about it during the show. That's true. So what do we do? Do we have the word on the note? Did somebody have that answer at least? The first part of the clue? I thought I saw it. Or maybe it's from the YouTube feed. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, there you go. From the YouTube feed. Okay. Aim high 2996. We'll start with that one. Vivian. But in gematria, the answer I was looking for is was it press is dead? Yeah. I thought that was interesting. There's a big decode on that right now. I'm not sure yet in terms of the schedule where it's going to land for this week, guys. As you know, Janine's in Korea, so probably starting tomorrow morning, Coco will repopulate the schedule page here for the remainder of this week, and we'll do our best here to get the Beyond the News starting here again with Janine. So just join the schedule page tomorrow to see more details on that. And aim high 29996. Yes, if you go to the top of the page here, Beyond Mystic. Just click the tech support form. Let us know you're the winner, and we'll have the pyramid shipped out to you here from Carla in short order. And guys, again, if you're looking at all these pyramids, typically the coupon code is Beyond Mystic, one word, it'll give you 10% off everything on the website. But right now, if you're looking for some shungite protection, especially these pendants from the Beyond Mystic collection, they're 40% off. You might want check that out. The coupon code ends on May 3rd. So big thank you to Carla, and a big thank you to Mr. Allgire. Again, guys, you can find his work at futureforecastinggroup.com and also here at Future Forecasting Group on YouTube. I'm Jean-Claude at Beyond Mystic. I love you guys. Have a great evening, and we'll see you soon.